we run into issues with mesh, we can go back and, source that to the mesh that's used on the panel. So it's important to keep those in most cases. This is the way they receive the panels. It has a tag on there that identifies the mesh. And here's one of the number one things you guys are gonna hear on the phone is, you've got to imagine closing your eyes right now and me describing to you how to put this panel on. So that's what you have when you're on the phone, and you don't know what's up, what's down. Black thread, white thread. So the easiest way to describe it is, have them just lay the panel on top of the frame to start, with the tag facing upward where they can read it. So if they're in that starting position, then this is the orientation to the frame, lengthways. You're gonna start with the locking bar away from you, and then they're gonna take that strip and roll it one time away from them so that the black thread is showing upward. And there may be other ways to describe it, but basically you want the mesh to go down and wrap around and be between the strip and the locking bar, so that you're not pulling against the thread.
So is it just one fold you're doing there?
Yeah, just one fold away from you so that you see the black thread.
We've had a number of people that wanna roll it the opposite direction and it doesn't work, so.
Yeah, and it makes a big difference, because that's what dictates your tension level, is the amount of stretch you get and how many times it wraps.
And you moved this bar from here to there when you started it, right? You moved it forward.
Yes, yeah, that is what we call the loading position. So what you do is, this is a finished position.
There you go.
And then that's your loading position.
Got it.
All right. To keep those from falling off, usually I'll just keep a little bit of tension on it like that, and that helps me keep that locking bar in place. And this one here, we always want to get them to center those up. You'll have guys trying to tear panels. If I try to load this thing and stretch it way over there, that's going to put about 12 more newtons on this side of the panel than this one, and obviously that would tear my panel. So you just snap those down into the grooves. And on the this is the standard frame. We've tightened up these panels to get that maximum tension to the point where it's easier to put it in the second locking bar and then snap it onto the frame the way that I just did.
Okay.
That's another thing that, when you're on the phone and you got somebody who has both bars in the loading position and they're trying to snap that in there, it's a little more difficult. It's a lot easier to grab that rigid bar and snap it in than it is to stretch a loose panel and tuck it in there.
They're loading it out of the channel at that point. They're
Correct.
putting it in.
Yeah, it seems to be a little easier than others.
Let me double check. Then the black threads are still up. Yeah. You can see them.
Yep.
Kind of hard to see unless you're.
Table's got a little bit of rock there. When you're not talking your way through this, it does go a little faster. On this, I'm just demonstrating here. If you don't do that, then here's what they've got to do. You've got to really push that to get it to snap in there. So it's much easier just to take that off, flip it over, black side up, get that thing secured in there. Get over here. Pull it back. Have to get it on down in the groove. Okay, so right now, see how you can't see these black threads? You can see them on this side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I can't see it here.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get my my strip all the way down in the channel. See, I was having a little bit of trouble snapping it on there.
Yeah.
So if that's not all the way in there,
You can actually feel it click in there.
yeah, you can feel it snap on down in, and then you can kind of pull on it and it'll go on down in. But if you don't have that there, that's that last little 1/8 of an inch it takes to snap it on there. And again, that would be impossible for an end user who didn't have someone able to demonstrate that. We don't have that problem on the HD frame. It actually comes in a little bit further and loads in much easier to get that same tension level. So I'll go on stretching. So I always want to end on a short side because it takes less force to do that than these long sides. So I'll start on a long side.
There's a particular way you load that onto the frame.
Yeah, and what I do, the way I'm holding this, I'll grab the handle and kind of hold it open with my fingers. And then I want to hook that into the locking bar like that, and then pivot it down into the channel. See, every tool here has a little ball on the back of it, and that ball has to pivot in this groove to create the leverage to lock this thing into place. And then you just push back on the handle.
Usually that's what throws people off when they could have clicked, they're thinking I'm gonna rip something.
Yeah, I broke something. That's great. Yeah.
The long side and then short side?
Yep.
This is an HP, is it?
No, this is a standard frame, and the reason we're doing this first is I wanted to demonstrate to you the difference. There's a lot of deflection that happens when you put this much tension on one of these frames. And this is 230 mesh,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a pretty resilient mesh.
Yeah.
That's really tight. Did we bring the tension meter in?
I was gonna ask if you could.
Is it in the box? I know for sure it's tight.
Do we have one?
Yeah, it's down in the floor down there. In the back. Over here, my door's not over there. Now that panel right now is probably 6 to 8 newtons tighter than any static frame that you're ever gonna sell and ship to your customers. All right? So, I mean, if you guys can check it out if you want.
Now, it will relax probably 2 or 3 minutes overnight or after a few hours. But it ain't gonna relax much more than that.
Yep.
He did some HDs earlier this week that he was standing and bouncing on.
Yeah, and that's kind of that is the way I like to test them. You know, it's a little bit abusive, but I don't mind abusing them. My job is to break panels. So when we took over this project, when Chris handed it to me, it was the transition from the green frames over into these, and this was the stuff I got to do, stretch panels and see if I could break them. So even with that tension on there, I'm like maybe 175 or something like that. So